Hi everyone, welcome back to the Grumpy Golfer channel. We're going to go through a brief talk about the last 6 events we've had on Clutch Pro Tour. I'm really sorry that we haven't had any more content out lately. We have been so busy. And as you can see from what we're going to talk about, you can see how busy we've been over the last 6 weeks. So we started our season at Luton Hoo. Really nice course. The setup there is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful heritage site. So we had a really nice start to the season with a really good tournament. We started off typically with a playoff for our first win of the season. We had a 3-man playoff with Habib Islam, Luke Harries and Ben Robinson. Ended up being a 3-hole playoff, which was tight. Weather was coming in, the sun started to set. But on the first 2 holes, Luke ended up coming out. The other 2 guys, Habib and Ben, went to a final playoff hole, which Ben won with a fantastic shot. We did it on the 18th. So he pushed his tee shot a little bit right, it's cut out by a tree towards the green. But played an amazing shot, which I'm sure Harry will put a little clip up of just to show you. And he stuck it to about 18 inches to 2 feet to win the tournament, which was amazing. Fantastic tournament. Great to start the season off so well. I think the players found the course was playing quite long. Ben on day 2 actually shot... I think he was 8 under for the day. 65, I think, which is an amazing round of golf. He was actually 9 under through 11 holes, which was fantastic. And then we moved on. To Royal Ascot, which was, again, another fantastic course. Setup was brilliant. Club's brilliant. You know, the people, the members, everyone was really helpful. Again, another tough tournament, starting with a par 3 at Royal Ascot, which always makes things sort of difficult with pace of play, to be honest. But our biggest issue at Royal Ascot was the weather. So on day 1, about 4:30, we ended up having to put everyone off the course due to bad weather and thunder and lightning. And as soon as you get lightning, you have to give guys a minimum of an hour to see if the weather's going to change. It didn't stop raining, so around about 6:30 we decided to make a decision to stop play for the rest of the day. Now that made it really tough because we had around about 15 groups still out on the course, because we were only allowed to do a 1-tee start at Royal Ascot, which made it very tough. We had a field of 146, so a big field. So that made it really tough. So second day, we had to bring everybody back, finish the guys that had not finished their first round, and then keep the draw exactly the same as day 1. So obviously that makes it very difficult because you've not really got your leaders going out last. So it was tough, but a couple of guys sort of stood out. Reece Sampson shot a 68 quite early. Then Tom Sloman started to pick it up. He shot a 67. Habib, again, playing really well. And the funny thing is, with this event, we didn't clash with Tier 1 this week, for that week. And a lot of the guys actually played on Tier 1 and then came straight over to Royal Ascot and played in Tier 2. So Habib, who'd been in the playoff the week before, went and played Tier 1 and then came straight over and played Tier 2. But the out-and-out winner, shot a fantastic 65 on day 2 was Jack Malone. And obviously, like I said, where everyone had gone out in the wrong order, as it were, he had to sit there for about 3 hours and wait to confirm his victory, which was, obviously must have been tough for him, but it was brilliant. Fantastic to see Jack get the win. So that's 2 $5,000 checks to these 2 first winners of the season. Fantastic. And like I say, Royal Ascot were brilliant. We had a pro-am the day before the tournament, which was well attended, which is fantastic. So from there, we then went on to the amazing, and I say that quite honestly, I mean amazing Haythrop Park. This is set in a Warner's Hotel, humongous hotel, fantastic old, which I'm sure Harry's going to put his drone footage up because it was absolutely amazing, this place. And the greens were running super, super fast. They were around about 11 and a half on the stimp. They were super fast, quick. Compared to the week before, it was unbelievable. The amount of rain that we'd had up to that point, and we're talking middle of May here. When you look at Royal Ascot and where the fact that we had to pull everyone off the course was really wet there, to be honest. You go to Haythrop, it was firm, fast, still beautifully green. It was amazing, and it was a real tough course. I mean, there was some serious walks between holes. The average round time was around about 5 hours. So that made it really difficult for these guys. And scoring on day one really showed that. I mean, I think we only had, I'm just double checking, we only had 3 guys under par after day one. And that was Owen Grimes, Sam Hessian and Simon Bryan. And day 2 played even harder, I would say. I really do think that some of the pins we put out there, myself and Mike Bullen doing course setup, some of the pins on that course, with the greens the way they were really tough. And I think probably, and I think all the players would agree with me on this, that the hardest hole was actually on the card. You look at it, and I think it's around about 285 par 4 down the hills, the 16th. But the green on the 16th is impossible. It is, I mean, to find 2 pins there was really tough for us. And we've got Tier 1 are actually going there later on in the season. And I really do think they're almost going to struggle to find 3 pin positions for a professional tournament. It's a really tough green. And, I was seeing people drive the green. I was seeing them come up short, and then they were either chipping through the back because they couldn't hold the chip. They were 3-stabbing. I even watched the 4-putt, which, it's really good to make it tough for these guys, but I think even they thought it was a bit difficult. But, so 3 players under par for day 1. We did have a few more on day 2. Let's just have a quick look. We probably had about 15, 16 players under par, which is good. But the wind died down on day 2. But every single week it's been even up till now, it's a northeasterly wind, so it's cold. We had an early start, but the out-and-out winner came from Liam Robinson, who shot a 66 on day 2. Now that Haythrop Park is actually his home course, so he knows it very well. But still, to shoot a 66 is an amazing shot. I ran a golf in day 2. He shot level par day 1, 6 under day 2 to go out and win the event by 3. And it was, again, fantastic round of golf from Liam, which is fantastic. He then went on a couple of weeks later. He's played on Challenge Tour. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're actually going to get Liam on the podcast in the next few weeks. Everybody's really busy, so trying to squeeze these little things in during the season is quite tough. But we're going to try and get Liam on the podcast for us to have a chat and talk about his adventures on Challenge Tour, and he's got some funny stories that we talked about. So hopefully we'll get him on to have a chat about that. So after Haythrop, we then went on to my memory's even going. I can't remember now. Sonning Golf Club in Reading. Sonning is one of my favourite golf courses in this country. I love it. I've played there a couple of times in a couple of pro-ams, and I find the course is always in stunning condition. The staff there are brilliant. The greenkeepers are fantastic. They're always welcoming. We have a great event there, and it was really, really good. The greens again were fantastic, and it ended up with a really good tournament. So again, we didn't have many under par on day 1. It's only a short track. It's probably about, I think it's 6,300 at memory. with a couple of short par 4s. It's only got, I think it's 2 par 5s. One of them being the 18th, which again is only about 460, 470 yards. But the tournament was brilliant. Fantastic guys. I must admit, these guys on tier 2, we've got some really good guys on tier 2. Some really nice young lads, aspiring professionals that are looking to build their career up. And this tier 2 setup with a 30 grand prize fund for a 2-day event is a fantastic way for these guys to get used to playing professional tournaments. We set them up hard. We really sort of try and make it, a real sort of tour experience for them. So, and I hope that they're all enjoying playing on tier 2. I'm loving doing what I'm doing. I'm obviously working with my son Harry, who's doing the videography, which is fantastic. But going back to the tournament, we had probably 3 or 4 guys all in contention after day 1. And we've got a few really consistent players this year. We've had, I would say, some of the most consistent. Sam Hessian, over probably the last 3 or 4 events, been super consistent. Connor White, Benjamin Martin, who he's played really well, and I'll talk about him in a minute. Ben's actually gone back out to Trinidad and Tobago now. He's come over to play in those events. We've got young lads like Warren Bates, who's only turned professional this year. He's from Norfolk, where we come from. Really nice lad, playing really consistent golf. After this last tournament, he's now sitting 15th in the Order of Merit. So again, really consistent. The likes of Nia Fraser-Lawrence. Nia's consistently all the way through the season. Corey Neville, another consistent lad. Jack Malone, and the ones that are winning, obviously they're obviously doing really well. Tom Stagg, another great one, playing really well consistently throughout the season. Reece Sampson, the list goes on, but we'll go into some more detail later. But so for this tournament, Sonin, we had, I think it was 2 or 3. Just trying to look on the leaderboard now. 2 or 3 of them were sort of at the top. But Luke Harries again shot a 66 on day 1. And he was, I believe, was he joint leader or one leader? No, he was one behind Liam Robinson, who shot 60. No, sorry. I'm going to get this right in a minute. Luke was 66, Liam was 67. So, Luke was up there. Played very consistent like he has done all season. And we got to the end of day 2, and it was a tight call. Benjamin Martin had come in, he'd shot 65. We had Sam Hessian who'd come in and shot 64. So we had one guy at 6 under, one guy at 5 under. Billy Spooner had played well day 1 and day 2. But it came down to the 18th. So Ben Martin was leading at 6 under. Luke was currently on 6 under, standing on 18th tee. And for those of you that don't know, Sonin, the 12th and the 18th run parallel to each other pretty much. So you hit your drive down 18, and Luke's actually pulled his tee shot a little bit left, I would say. And he's we're standing behind the green on 18, and we can see him standing behind these little trees on the left-hand side. And we're thinking, he's got to make birdie to win this tournament. How's he going to do it from over there? And anyway, we swings the club. I'm standing next to Benjamin Martin. Swings his club, and all you see is this ball come out from this tree, and it pitches about 10 foot short of the pin and checks up to about 18 inches, 2 feet. And I mean, what a shot. An absolute beautiful shot from out of those trees. And I turned to Ben, and Ben says, "That's a golf shot that wins a golf tournament." He says, "I'm off." And he left. And he walked away, and he said, congratulations to Luke. And Luke walked up, tapped it in for his eagle to win the tournament by 2 shots. And, after playing as well as he had done for the first, 2 or 3 events, after losing in the playoff in the first event, it was a massive congratulations to Luke for finishing that tournament off, which was brilliant. And his mum caddies for him at the moment, and she's a lovely lady. And I must remember to ask her name next time I see her, because all I keep doing is calling her mum, which is a bit rude, really. But no, so Luke, worthy winner for that one. fantastic event again. So we then moved on to the Midlands. We had 2 Midlands events in a row. The first one being South Staffs. Now, South Staffs is actually the home of former Ryder Cup player Peter Baker. It is absolutely stunning. The greens there were, again, amazing. It's a parkland course. That is just beautiful. It's a real nice setting. I'm sure Harry again will put up some pictures and some videos for you to have a look. But it was amazing, and the team there. I must admit, every single event we've been to, the staff have been fantastic. The greenkeepers are brilliant, and they really look after us, and they make it. Not only do they make the tournament in the fact that because at the end of the day, if we didn't have a nice golf course to go to, it wouldn't be the same, would it? But again, we had the same guys up there: Sam Hessian, Warren, Reece Sampson, Tom Stagg, Jack Malone, all these Luke Harries. All these guys that have been playing consistently well throughout these, 5-6 events. And even if you go a little bit further down the leaderboard, tied 16th, Connor White, Benjamin Martin. We've had some real consistency throughout the season. But this one was again very tough on day one. We probably had about half a dozen to a dozen, 10 to 12, I'd say, probably under par for day one. Day two, played a little bit easier. I was quite surprised, to be honest, and especially where I tucked some of those pins. They were, and like we were at Haythrop, there was one particular hole, and this one on at South Stass was the 14th. That is, it's a par 4, but really these players were really struggling to hold the green on with their chips and stuff like that. And on day two, where we'd put the pin, it was on quite a severe slope, so I was a little bit worried if they sped the greens up too much that these guys just weren't even, the hole was going to be unplayable. But watching some of them, they were struggling, but those guys out there, they've got some real good skills. So going into the second day, the last few groups went off. No one really sort of pushed on, really, I think, but eventually you started to get a couple of the guys come through, and the 2 guys that were really pushing on were Jack Slater and Reece Sampson, and they were actually playing in the same group, and I believe they were the second to last group. And they both came up and finished their rounds with 2 5-unders, which was really good golf round there. Like I say, it was tough, it's tight. If you're offline with your driver, you're in trouble. You've got to chip out sideways 9 times out of 10. So these 2 lads finished both on 7 under for the tournament, which meant we went to another playoff. We do seem to like playoffs on Tier 2, which is enjoyable. So we decided to play the 18th as our playoff hole, and both of them took iron off the tee, which is very conservative of both of them. Jack put it pretty much, you couldn't have got it much more central in the middle of the fairway, and Reece was probably 5 yards in front of him, just over to the right. So where our pin was on day 2 was just to the back right hand side of the green. So Reece was slightly blocked out a little bit by a bunker, but Jack went first, and he literally put it to about 2 or 3 feet. It was a fantastic wedge shot. I know he actually hit 9-iron, because he said to me in his interview afterwards that in normal play he had exactly the same yardage, and he took a wedge and come up on the front edge. So it was nice to have the same yardage, and took 1 club more and stiffed it, which then put the pressure on Reece. And he still hit a very good shot, just slightly to the right edge of the green. And unfortunately, Reece 3-putted, and Jack had 2 putts for the win and made the birdie. So it was a fantastic event, great finish. Jack then went on. He finished that tournament and didn't play this week because he decided he had an option to go to Challenge Tour, so he's gone over to play on Challenge Tour for the week. So, which to be honest, I haven't checked to see where he got on, unfortunately, but we're doing this on a Saturday afternoon, so he's probably still, if he's made the cut, he's probably still playing now. So, But yeah, no, so South Staffs, again, absolutely brilliant course, amazing place to go to. I definitely recommend it if you're up in the Midlands. But yeah, a fantastic event. So then, this week, we have been at, I keep saying it, but the amazing Drayton Park Golf Club. Drayton Park, we actually went there for the Spring Series this year, which is our pre-season thing that we do in April. And at that point, even in April, the course was, a little bit wet on the edges, but the greens were fantastic. Not quite as quick this week. I think Dale, the head pro there, was a little bit worried about the fact that we haven't had a lot of rain over the last 3 weeks. Didn't want the greens to burn and dry out, so didn't want to have them too quick. So they were about 10.5, I think, on the stint. Which, even with that, though, the course still plays very tough. It's very narrow at on these Parkland courses that we go to. So Drayton, Staffs, Sonning, they're all very tight and and difficult golf courses. And although they're not very long, that really protects them, as well as the greens. They're complex greens, fast greens, so difficult to put pin positions in. But no, it was another fantastic place to go. So we had, again, I keep saying the same names: Sam Hessian, Reese Sampson, Connor White, Alex Belt. I mentioned Alex. Alex has played well over all this this first start of the season. Chris Crabtree, really nice Australian guys come over to play in our events. Nia Fraser-Lawrence. So we had, our last group was Nia, Jack and Chris Crabtree this week. Gone out in the last group on the second day. And none of them really were sort of pushing on, but we had our very own Mr. Mike Bullen come through. He shot a 67 day 2. I mean, he was actually 6 under par, I think. 6 under par through 11. And unfortunately had a double bogey on 12, put himself in a bunker, green side, as we call him, the bottler. So he finished with 5 under. Gary King, who came along to play in this event with us this week, shot a 66. Didn't have a very good first day, but shot a 66 day 2, which was actually the leading score of the day on day 2. Gary's a very accomplished golfer. He's been on the main tour. He's had his full tour card, and obviously trying to get back into that position. He's had a business which he's been trying to build up for over the last couple of years. So he's now back concentrating full time on his golf, which is fantastic. He plays mainly on Tier 1, but came over to Tier 2 this week because he is getting married this weekend. Congratulations, Gary. Hope everything goes okay. So yeah, day 2. Coming towards the end, myself and Harry were out on the golf course getting some footage and videos and bits and pieces, and we actually witnessed and watched Jack Gaunt make an eagle on 13, which is a par 5 down at Drayton. So he actually at that point went 2 shots clear, which was very interesting to see that he was there. He was there up there on the top. Drayton is actually his home course, so knows it very well. But then unfortunately he made par on 14, but then dropped a shot on 15 and 16. He was very unlucky on 16. He'd actually hit a fairly good tee shot, but it was only probably 2 foot in the rough on the left-hand side. But where we'd put the pin on day 2, I must admit it was quite a nasty little pin. We'd pushed it just to the left-hand side on a little downslope, but literally over a bunker. So where he was coming out of the rough and it being dry and firm in the afternoon, he had no chance of, maybe stopping that on the green. He just caught a downslope, back of the bunker, shot through the back and made a bogey. And while this was all going on, Mr. Luke Harries had come in and shot a little 4 under. So we were watching that, and obviously we've rushed back to the clubhouse, told Luke not to go anywhere just in case. So at that point, we had 3 people all sitting at 4 under, coming up. So they were on the 17th tee. The two guys, Nia Fraser-Lawrence and Jack Gaunt. And we were thinking one of them's got a birdie 17. It's a short par 4. I'd pushed it right up. I'd made it about 250, 255. Yes, into wind, but these guys can easily hit that with sort of like a 2-iron, little cutty 3-wood. None of them made birdie. So then going up 18, we're thinking someone's got a birdie 18. Come on. No one birdies 18. So we go into another 3-man playoff this time, which we decide to play a loop of 1 and 2. So as many times as sudden death. These playoffs are sudden death playoffs. So we go down 1 and 2. So we go down 1. Both Jack and Luke hit iron off the tee. Nia decides to take a 3-wood, cut the corner. It's only a short par 4. And he comes up just short of the bunker, right in front of the green. So leaves himself a really tough little chip. Jack hits first. Jack hits it to about, I would say, probably 10 feet on the fringe behind the flag. And then I would say that Luke, talking to him walking down the fairway, after he'd hit his shot, he hit a little wedge. And it's just gone, I would say, 14, 15 foot right of the flag. And as we were walking down, he said to me, that's another one of those tough pins you've put in there, Colin, because earlier on in the morning, when he played it in the morning, he actually went long left. I think he got up and down for his par, but went long left. So he decided to make sure he didn't go long left this time. So just aimed just right at the flag. Jack and Luke both made their pars. Unfortunately, Nia, his chip went through the green. And then he's chipped up again and missed the par putt back. So unfortunately, Nia dropped out after that one. So we went on to the second hole. Both players hit good tee shots, Luke and Jack. Luke must have been quite pumped. He's hit a 3-iron off the tee, and as we were walking up the fairway after he'd hit it, he said that was the best 3-iron I've ever hit. And I think he was 20, 25 yards past Jack. I'm not sure whether Jack hit a 5-wood or a 3-wood. But Jack, again, was unfortunately in the rough. Literally just in the rough. And Jack went first and slightly pulled his shot left. So went a little bit long left. So I would say probably about 25, 30 feet. But he had a nasty putt coming down the green. Big swing left to right. And Luke managed to put his into about 4 feet. And it's nice to win with a birdie, and Luke won with a birdie, which is great to see. So that's 2 wins for Luke in a 6-event swing, which was fantastic, and it was great to see. Unlucky to Jack and Nia being in the playoff, but it was great to see Luke win his second event. He's now 300 and something odd points clear in the order of merit, which is great after 2 wins. We've now got a break on Tier 2. Our next event isn't until I think the 6th and 7th of July, which is at Bowood. But it would have been nice to have had a break. But myself and Harry are literally tomorrow afternoon. We're driving all the way to Liverpool to get the ferry to go to Ireland. We're coming out to see these guys on Tier 1. Help out with Richard and Tom. I'm determined this week, or over the next 12 days while we're in Ireland, to pin down Mr. Hayward and the other 2 guys who run tier 1 and get a podcast done with them, because they've got some stories. There's some, we've got Tom Hayward, an ex-professional golfer, CEO of the Clutch Pro Tour. We've got Gary Harris, former world amateur number 1 back in the day, a few years ago now. He's a bit older now. And Richard Profit, who is the tier 1 manager, who is an ex-professional again, and used to be an England amateur. So he's played at a very high level. Richard played, all the guys have played Challenge Tour and even higher levels. So it'd be fantastic to get them on the podcast. But I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that watched our first couple of videos and listened to what we've said. Really sorry that we haven't got anything out. Like I say, we've been so busy. Every time we've tried to do something, we've been called on to do another event and so on and so forth. But over the coming weeks, we've hopefully got, like I say, the guys from Tier 1. Liam Robinson, we're going to try and get some time with him. We're also going to hopefully see James Wiltshire. For those of you that don't know, James has got 70,000 subscribers on YouTube. He was up there this week, had a good event this week, played really well. So I'd like to get his view on how he's finding these events that he's playing in, how different it is to playing in professional tournaments to actually doing just YouTube and vlogging and stuff and bits and pieces. So yeah, it's going to be a really busy again next few weeks. Like I say, 2 weeks in Ireland, back Bowood, and then we're consistently through for the rest of the season. It'll be really good to see, hopefully get some footage. Me and Harry are actually going to go out and play golf this afternoon, which is quite nice. I haven't hit a golf club in a few weeks, and then we are then going to hopefully get some footage and some video for you guys, so you can see how bad I really am and how miserable I do get on a golf course, which is quite often the case, as my son is nodding his head behind the camera. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll keep you informed. We'll put some bits and pieces on social media. Hopefully we'll get some stuff out over while we're in Ireland, even if it's some snippets. But thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like to the channel, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.